जी जी प्रभु जी, थैंक
Okay,
यू।
thank you very much. Anyone else before we move forward? Maybe Anuj Prabhu, you may want to share how has your experience been?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I'm chanting regularly, Prabhuji, but it was an eye-opening, lecture for me. I'm sure for all of us. So I used to, think a lot of things, like while chanting. So now I've realized that it's, like chanting is not a casual activity. It's a serious activity actually. If we are serious that we need to, like progress, in our spirituality. So then we have to be serious about japa. It's not any other activity.
Yeah.
It's actually that you're spending time with Krishna. It's so we and he's the supreme like person. He's our supreme father. He's the creator. So we have to be serious. And so Mahatma Das Prabhuji actually like brought out like many points which were good, that we have to have the right mood when we are chanting.
Exactly.
So if we are not in the right mood, then rather we stop chanting and finish our business, and then sit again for chanting when we have the right mood. So
nice.
we need to create the mood also, and
right, sir.
we need to create the mood, and we have to control our mind actually, because the mind is is our enemy, as as Krishna told in the Bhagavad Gita, that you have to control your mind. So he told Arjun that you have to you can control your mind through practice and through detachment. In the Gita he's told. So we have to do that, to control our mind first of all, and then develop that feeling. So we also need to have a feeling. We just can't do it as a process. He also told very important point, that we should not do it mechanically.
Can go to straight also.
Yeah. Prabhu, can you just mute everyone?
So a little bit I was doing like mechanically also, which now I realized that I can't be mechanical in my chanting. Need to have that feeling also, that I'm actually like with Krishna. So that feeling, it will take time, Prabhuji, because we are still at the starting level. So it will take some time to develop that feeling that actually you're sitting like along with Krishna. So as you have told, that Bhishma Dev had invested his thinking, willing and feeling, and at the last moment he said, I've used my mind and my consciousness for all other activities. Now I want to invest all that into Krishna. So we need to come to that level and have the mood actually, for serious chanting.
Thank you very much.
This is what I realized actually.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. So we will go into this even deeper later on in the course of today's discussions. But let's start with, thank you very much, Prabhuji. Let's start with our Mangala Charan. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayashta Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kurmaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So in last week's class, we spoke about gratitude, expressing gratitude for what we have, expressing this to the Lord. We also learned that Narada Muni, he says that when we are born into this world, we must feel grateful to the devas, the rishis, our relatives, our forefathers, right? So we learned all of this in last week's class. Right now, I just want you to reflect on that short video which I gave, which I shared with all of you yesterday on Puntanam, right? He's a very revered figure in Malayalam literature and also in the Bhakti movement. And he's celebrated for his very profound devotion to Lord Guruvayurappan. Guruvayurappan is Lord Krishna. Okay. So he has composed amazing devotional verses expressing his unwavering love and reverence for the Lord. Right? So, and the Lord actually, he could feel the Lord's presence everywhere. If you look at that on the picture on the right-hand side, you will actually see that when he's composing these verses, out of selfless love, out of enthusiasm in the service of Krishna, he could actually feel Krishna everywhere. I'd just like to ask you a very profound question. Have you experienced Krishna appearing in your lives? Right? Have you experienced Krishna appearing in your life? Anyone would like to try? Okay. Generally we perceive Krishna's presence through some coincidence or some miracles that happen in our lives, right? Or when our material desires are answered, right? We live in this I space, What do you think? Anyone would like to share? No one? Just unmute yourself. Once again, this is a safe space. Huh? No one is going to be judgmental on anyone. Malti, would you like to try? Thanks for joining from KL.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, but I felt it in my children.
Okay,
This
wonderful.
experience.
Wonderful.
That's because after marriage, we were childless for 9 years. And I was very much into praying for Krishna and all. And I had posters of Krishna, his childhood pictures all over the house. And finally, after 9 years, we were blessed. And we used to get the baby ready and put it in a pram. And we used to put her facing the posters of Krishna. And we used to go about our daily job, getting ready, packing a bottle and all. And then suddenly we will hear her laughing while she's in the pram. She's just a baby, 3 to 4 months old.
Okay.
And we're talking about Rashmi, my eldest.
Sure.
She'll be laughing and giggling like somebody's playing with her, making her laugh. And whenever we come on and take a poster and laughing away, it's like, I don't know, as a mother, I can feel that Krishna is playing with her.
Okay.
Very trying nice. Trying to calm her down, maybe, not letting her cry that she's alone and all. So this has happened many times, even with my son also. Okay. And even though it wasn't very easy because spiritually, I could not stay connected for very long due to work and family matters. But when the classes were started by yourself and Mataji, my kids were very fortunate that they could join the classes. And as you know, my children have all taken turns to, partake in all the dramas and everything, becoming Krishna and, doing the body paint, able to do all the dramas. So in that way, we are so connected.
Wonderful.
So
Thanks
we
for
feel so blessed.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your
Thank you.
experience.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So what I can
Thank you, Prabhuji, for all these opportunities.
Not at all, not at all.
Yes.
We learn together. So what I can actually gather from what you have just shared is that firstly, you
Yes.
saw Krishna in his pictures.
Yes.
Right? You saw Krishna in your daughter. You
Yes.
saw Krishna in his answering your prayers. You see, that is
Yes.
how we actually experience Krishna. It's not that Krishna has to come, physically in front of us and say, hey, hi, I'm Krishna. No, right? He appears in his deity. He's there in his pictures. He's there in everything. There was once a drunkard. He came for Srila Prabhupada's class in a big hall. And he stood up and asked, have you seen God? Right? In a challenging mood. Right? He stood up and he challenged Prabhupada. Have you seen God? You're speaking so much. Prabhupada said, yes, but you are blocking me. Sit down. The reason why Prabhupada said this is because he sees Krishna everywhere. Right? Everything is Krishna. Right? So Krishna can appear through many other ways, not necessarily in front of us as Sri Krishna himself. He can also appear through instructions from devotees. Krishna can also appear through something which is profound when we read, some philosophical points which has answered some doubts in our life. Krishna can also appear in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita. And very importantly, as we started today's class, Krishna appears in his holy names. Okay? So we need to broaden our horizon as far as understanding the appearance of Krishna. Any questions? In fact, you will remember in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in 6:30, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. This is so profound. Many a times, including myself, when I read the Bhagavad Gita, okay, it's there for a few minutes in my mind, I understand the verse, etc. But it's important for us to sit down and reflect on every verse, because every verse is just explaining to us so much more. But if we do not pause and if we do not reflect, we will not be able to internalize a verse. So if you just glance through the Bhagavad Gita, come across this verse, oh, okay, he's everywhere, fine. But when you internalize it, you will say that, wow, Krishna is actually in every atom. He's there as Paramatma. He's there in my child, right? As Paramatma. He's there everywhere. Nothing could have existed without the ingredients which were provided by Krishna. That is how we should actually see. Any reflections, anything anyone would like to share? Just unmute yourself if you would like to share anything. Okay, so let's move on.
This
Yes, Prabhuji?
Yeah, this internalizing thing which you told is like that is very important, because if we also do our japa, if we don't internalize, then it's just exterior. It's just a show of japa, as Mahatma Das Prabhuji told. So this internalized, point is very good. And to the question that if anyone has seen Krishna, of course we've not seen him personally, but as you said, we've seen him in the in the things around. So I personally, if I've experienced myself, for the last few months, that I'm experiencing him in the sun. Like if I see sun, if I see moon, I try to pray and I try to see that how come the sun is there, and it's not falling down, is it's in its right place. And if I see the earth, I can see that we all are like on this earth, and this gravitation is actually pulling us here. But actually the earth is floating. It's not resting anywhere, and it's
No.
and it's not
Okay.
stationary. Also, the earth is also moving. So I always see I always see the nature. I always see earth, and I'm really amazed that like we are all on this earth. It's like a spaceship, that we are on. And so I feel very grateful that we although we are sitting here very comfortably, but the earth is moving, and Krishna is the source. So I see him like that, actually.
Very nice, very nice. Prabhuji, I think you will need to mute Karuna Mataji.
Right. Go to left.
Or have I given you the rights to mute anyone?
No, Prabhuji, I can't do it myself.
Karuna Mataji, can you mute yourself, please? Okay, just a minute, yeah. Okay, I've muted her now. Okay, can you see the slides?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. So, right, let's just read this this verse over here, the purport, right? So Krishna says, a person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, right? But in each and every instance, he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. That's the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. Right? So devotees, they don't even ask Krishna, we want to go back to your spiritual world, or we want to merge into the Brahmani effulgence at the end of this physical life. No, they just want to continue serving Krishna. That is what Krishna consciousness is all about. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self-realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna, in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. Therefore, an intimate relationship between the Lord and devotee certainly can exist. And in that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is the personality of Godhead ever out of the sight of the devotee. Right? To merge in Krishna is actually spiritual annihilation. A devotee takes no such risk. Right? So Krishna, no, the devotees don't ask that, we want to merge into Krishna's body, etc. No, they're not asking for anything. They are just wanting to be eternal servants of Krishna. Right? So in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achitam Gunaswarupam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee. How does the devotee see? The devotee is able to appreciate that Krishna is everywhere because their eyes are anointed with the pulp of love for Krishna. He is seen in his eternal form of Sham Sundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. Okay, so although the yogi, when he's meditating, he meditates on the Paramatma in his heart. But the devotee brings it a step further, because Paramatma is a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The full representation is Bhagwan Sri Krishna Sham Sundar. So what the devotee does is, the devotee sees Krishna as Sham Sundar in his heart. All right. At this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. in the case of a yogi who sees Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. Okay? So this is really amazing. Huh? All of us, we need to start trying to see Krishna in everything. Okay? Thank you very much, Anuj Prabhu. Thank you very much, Malti Prabhu, Malti Mataji, for sharing your realizations. They were very, very, very powerful in my opinion. So, last week, we spoke about expressing gratitude to the Lord for everything, right? For everything means what? From the air that we breathe, from the relationships that we have, for the entire orchestration of our lives. So that's how we express gratitude to Krishna, right? So 3 ways of remembering Krishna is by remembering Krishna in gratitude. Thank you very much, Krishna, right? But again, when we are expressing gratitude, there is an element of I in it. Gratitude because this is what the Lord did for me. Isn't it? Gratitude is you are thanking the Lord for what he has done for you. There's still an element of I in this. Srila Prabhupada actually says that bringing it beyond gratitude is expressing to Krishna that I'm in total dependence of you. I'm in total dependence of your sanction. I can desire 101 things, but you as Paramatma, you as Bhagavan will need to sanction this. I'm in total dependence of you. When we express this total dependence, which is beyond gratitude, we are actually acknowledging how minute we are. You know, we are just so tiny. While acknowledging how minute we are also acknowledging how magnanimous the Lord is. Right? So when we combine this acknowledgement of how tiny we are and how great the Lord is, that is where we begin to feel belongingness to Krishna. Okay, that is what dependence is all about, right? Just like, you know, Malti Mataji expressed when her child was born, the child was dependent on the mother, right? The child is so small, the child can't do anything. It's totally dependent on the mother. Therefore, this entire synergy of belongingness synthesizes. Okay? And when we begin to see that we are so insignificant, and when we begin to appreciate the belongingness to Krishna, that is where we enter into the space of love and dependence. All right? Coming back again to Malti Mataji, the daughter probably saw herself as so insignificant. She's belonging to the mother, right? She's got the full belongingness with the mother, and therefore she enters into the space of love for the mother and dependence for the mother. And do you think Malti stops there? No. What Malti does is she reciprocates with even more love for the child. That's exactly how Krishna does it. You see, I just love this because now I'm actually seeing Krishna present. He's explaining this to me so that I can express this to you. Right? So from our insignificance and belonging with Krishna, we get into this space of love and dependence. Right? So can I ask any one of you how you are dependent on Krishna? Everyone is so shy in the class. Okay, we are dependent on Krishna for everything from the air to the water to our house to all the resources. We can only work hard, but the Lord has to sanction. And material nature under the jurisdiction of Mother Durga, she then take over to bring about, you know, the items which we have requested for, etc. Okay. So now, Gratitude is level 1, where we are expressing thankfulness to the Lord for what He has done for us. Bringing it further is expressing our dependence to Krishna's sanction. And let's bring it even 1 or 2 notches further. What would it look like? It is as follows. It is acceptance and surrender. All right. You remember Krishna in acceptance of whatever He's doing because you have full trust in Him. This acceptance, this surrender can only happen when we have full trust. A child, once again, going back to multi situation, what can the child do? The child can only cry out and just accept when multi wants to feed the child, right? The child has full trust in the mother. Similarly, whatever is happening in our life, I know it's very difficult to accept sometimes, but we just need to have full trust in Krishna. When we have full trust in Krishna, that is when things will start revealing by itself. Okay, by the grace of Krishna. So gratitude is level 1. Dependence on Krishna's sanction, on Krishna's mercy is level 2. And the highest form of remembrance of Krishna is when we accept or when we surrender. We try our very, very best. We are not lazy to it. We are fully, giving our very best. At the same time, we accept and we surrender. All right. I just like this verse over here. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I'm disturbed, it is because I find some person, place, thing, or situation, some fact of my life unacceptable to me. And I can find no serenity until I accept that person, place, thing, or situation as being exactly the way it is supposed to be at this moment. Nothing, absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. Until I could accept my alcoholism, I could not stay sober. Until I could accept life completely on life terms, I could not be happy. I need to concentrate not so much on what needs to be changed in the world as on what needs to be changed in me and in my attitude. I found this really nice. Yeah, I just found it on Google and on the web. That's really nice. So, can anyone tell me, how do we get to this stage of acceptance? What is the most important ingredient? I shared that word just now. Anyone?
We
What
have
is
to be
the-
honest, like Prabhuji.
We have to be honest. No, yes, but what else?
Faith, Prabhuji.
Yes, faith and trust.
Trust.
Yeah, faith and trust are the most important ingredients. Okay, faith and trust. Right. So, if you read this, every morning we are supposed to read the Shishastakam. These are, when Lord Chaitanya came 530 years ago, he empowered the 6 Goswamis to share their realizations, to go deep into Krishna consciousness, to unearth those sites which were forgotten. All right. The sites where Krishna and Radharani and the gopis and the gopas, wherever they had enacted their pastimes, the Goswamis actually unearthed all of those places. So while Krishna was leaving, he just left, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was leaving, he just left 8 verses. Just 8 verses. The rest of the work was done by the Goswamis. And this is where, in the 8th instruction, in the 8th verse, he explains that, right? Let's enlarge this. Okay. Aslisya va padaratam pinastu mam adarsanam marmahatam hatom hat karotu va yata tata va vidadatu lampato mat prananatas tusa eva na paraha. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord. And he shall remain so, even if he handles me so roughly by his embrace and makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. So this is Krishna coming back as a devotee of Krishna, right? Explaining this. I will still have Krishna as my Lord. I'll see Krishna as my Lord always, even if he handles me roughly, even if he breaks my heart, right? I know because I trust him. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. Right? So, when Srila Prabhupada, during his final moments in November of 1977, the devotees were all so crushed because Prabhupada was going to leave his body. He has become so weak. And they actually went up and asked him, Prabhupada, do you have any desires? And Prabhupada said, Kuch isha nahi. Right? I have no more desires. Previously, he had desire to translate more books. Right? He wanted to translate the Ramayana and many other very important scriptures. But at that particular moment, he said, I have got no more desires. Why? Because he was in full dependence on Krishna and he was in full acceptance of Krishna. Okay, so that was the mood of Srila Prabhupada. We saw in the 8th verse of Shishtastakam, this is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Total acceptance. Where he comes back to teach us. Krishna is coming back as Mahaprabhu to teach us. And if you look at Bhagavatam in this particular verse, Lord Brahma, after he had hidden the gopas and the cows, right, for 1 year, and then he realized, oh my God, I was messing with the wrong person. This is Krishna, right? And therefore he says, just like the mother, when the child in the womb is kicking the mother doesn't take offense to it. So you, oh Krishna, you are the mother of the universe. You are the father of the universe. I have, sinned. I have done this crazy thing. Please forgive me. Just like how a mother doesn't get upset with the child in the womb, right? My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your costless mercy onto him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body. Brahma says he is surely eligible for liberation because of his trust. This has become his rightful claim. Okay, wonderful verse, right? So if you can memorize these 2 verses, it will be really good because it keeps on explaining to us. Dear, what have I done? Okay, give me a minute. I've got a touch screen laptop, so sometimes it goes haywire when I fiddle around too much with it. Okay, maybe I'll just stop sharing and just have a conversation with all of you. Is this making sense or is this very theoretical? Satya Mataji, what do you think?
Making sense.
Okay, you must unmute your line, Mataji, and then we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel this is making sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Ravinder Prabhu, maybe you want to share some of your realization?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I just came back from the temple, actually.
Ah, nice.
I find that, I mean, earlier on, Anuj Prabhu was mentioning about the seriousness of japa. And I have been looking at the meaning of the Mahamantra and believing in it. I engage, Mahamantra will be, I engage you in your devotion, I engage you in your service. And when you say the Mahamantra and you know the meaning of it, you must be very serious about engaging in the service. And as I went about going through every day, I mean, you know that I've been trying to share with you that every day I'm trying to do the deity worship as well as offer my chanting and also offer water to Tulsi Maharani. At the same time, I remember the start of the whole process and how the association with good devotees, how Krishna is also seen. When a devotee speaks, he's speaking sincerely, and it seems that he's speaking from experience in serving Krishna. And when such a person speaks sincerely, it makes changes to me. Some of the changes were instantaneous, like you remember, I became vegetarian on the spot
Exactly.
on one particular day, and then other things will take time.
Yeah.
I also agree with Mataji's, Shalini Mataji's, that
Sorry, Shefali
sometimes, that sometimes while you're doing your japa, some thoughts will come into your mind, and it's hard to eradicate it. So somehow habitually I've been waking up at 5 o'clock during Brahma Muhurta, and that's when I find that it's easier to do the prayers, and it's quiet. It feels you're at one with the atmosphere, and you're able to do your japa unoffensively, like what Anuj Prabhu was trying to say as well. And you do it in a way that as you grow and believe in the meaning of the Mahamantra, and you bow to Krishna's service or service to Krishna, you really mean it. You want to engage yourself in the service. You want to engage yourself in service. You want to engage, and then as you are saying the Mahamantra, you want to engage in the service. You really, really want to do it. Because you're saying the Mahamantra, you know the meaning of it, and you're saying it repeatedly, and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya repeatedly, and you explain to your children that's what it means, and you say what other famous sages have said to devotees. You reconnect with certain stories of how sages have tried to pass down the knowledge to other people who are sincere about learning Krishna, and then you tell it to your children, whether your children will accept or not. Like what you said about James Clear's Atomic Habits, it takes 1% every day. Slowly, hopefully, the children will also change. But you have to do your part as a parent, you do your part as a teacher, do your part as a member of society. But the change and acceptance and also change of attitude, like what you said, begins with yourself. And you want to make changes in the world, you have got the power or not, that is secondary. The first thing is to be the man in the mirror, like what Michael Jackson used to say. Make the change in yourself. And then from there, let's see how you can help others. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your realization. I really appreciate this. Thank you. Yeah, it's all coming together as a wonderful jigsaw puzzle, Ravindra Prabhu. Yeah. Okay. Let me try to see whether I can share my screen now. Okay.
Prabhu, sorry, there was a question on the chat earlier on, and I answered from my own perspective. I hope I was correct to one of the Mataji's questions on the group chat.
Yeah, Sonia Mataji, you are correct. It's okay. It is certainly okay. Like, otherwise, what would you be doing? Like, you'll be listening to, I would be listening to rock music or Bollywood music, etc. Certainly listening to the Mahamantra while you're doing your exercise, while we are mopping the floor, etc. What other way to engage ourselves? So amazing. Very good. Ravindra Prabhu, thank you very much for moderating the chat. Okay, so now let's make it real. Okay, about these three gradations, right? These gradations of remembering Krishna. What does it start with? Level 1 is
Gratitude.
exactly gratitude. But gratitude is still focused on me, is in the I space, me. Bringing it further up, it is dependence, belongingness to Krishna, loving Krishna. We are so minute and Krishna is so magnanimous. Therefore, the dependence, evolving that into loving devotional service. But beyond that would be acceptance, exactly. Acceptance. Now let's read this entry from Srila Prabhupada's diary, right? This is where Prabhupada left the safe haven of Vrindavan. He begged for a ticket to go to the Western world because his Guru Maharaj told him, "You speak so good English. You are Western educated, right? I mean, you are educated in the English language. You understand, you know." Prabhu, you will have to give me a minute. Anuj, I'm going to make you the co-host.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah, there are a lot of phones. Karuna Mataji is still unmute. Okay, so do whatever is necessary. So Prabhupada left. He got a free ticket to go to Boston Harbor. And when he reached Boston Harbor, he was like, my God, where have I come? You know, I'm just carrying the instruction of of his Guru Maharaj. So he writes this in his diary, and many years later, the devotees actually found his diary and they published it. All right. Several years after Srila Prabhupada first arrived in America, a disciple discovered the diary he had kept during his passage from India on the steamship Jaladuta. Inside was a poem handwritten in Bengali that Prabhupada had written on board the ship just after it had arrived in Boston Harbor. The poem beautifully captures Srila Prabhupada's first impressions of Western civilization and reveals his heartfelt determination to change the consciousness of America. And so he writes, "My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me." So the first line over here, I've like underlined it or I've highlighted it 3 times. You can see, you are so kind upon this useful soul. Prabhupada is expressing his gratitude. And then, I do not know why you have brought me here. That is expressing dependence. And finally, he says, now you can do whatever you like with me. I'll just accept this. This is acceptance. This is so nice. Yesterday, while I was preparing for this class, wow, I just felt so good reading this letter. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for this transcendental message of Vasudev. I do not know how they will be able to understand it. Dependence. But I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible because you are the most expert mystic. I am so minute and you are so magnanimous. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? Oh Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I'll be able to convince them about your message. See, dependence, a little gratitude, acceptance. All living entities have become under the control of your illusory energy or your external energy or Maya by your will. And therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. That is why, we could have just continued, just being in this cycle of birth and death, just rotting in this material world, if not for the mercy which is coming from a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. I wish that you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, you see, this is dependence. Then only they will be able to understand your message. Anuj Prabhu, please mute. The words of Srimad Bhagavatam are your incarnation, and if a sober person repeatedly receives them with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message. It is said in the Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, what does he do? Like a washing machine, he cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages and who are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam, okay, this is the Mangala Charan which we do. By regularly hearing the Bhagavatam and rendering service unto pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed. And loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as a revocable fact. And then he continues, how will I make them up to understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I'm very unfortunate, unqualified, and most fallen. Therefore, I'm seeking your benediction. You have brought me to speak about you. It is up to you to make me a success or failure as you like. You see so much of dependence and acceptance. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding, but only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. At the same time, he has full conviction. He says, I'm sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their heart, they will certainly feel engladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions. Dependence, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me to dance, then make me dance, make me dance. Oh Lord, make me dance as you like. I have strong faith in your holy name of Krishna. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. This is so amazing, isn't it? Right? So just in one entry in his diary, you can see this mood of gratitude, dependence, and acceptance. If you forget, whatever we discussed today, just remember these three keywords. All right, so in Chaitanya Charitamrita, again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, this is the natural result of intense love of Godhead. The devotee does not consider personal inconvenience and impediments. In all circumstances, he just wants to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I think the classic case is Vasudeva and Devaki, right? Parents of Krishna, right? On the day when Devaki got married to Vasudeva, when Kamsa was actually riding their chariot to Vasudeva's house, he heard the Akashvani saying that Devaki's 8th child will be the cost of your death. All right. And therefore, he was about to kill Devaki. And then Vasudeva said, no, don't worry. I will come and offer the children to you. All right, whenever they are born. And during the course of, the progressive death of the children, or the killing of the children, they were so desperate for Krishna. Right? They were so desperate for Krishna. And when Krishna appeared, and when it was time to celebrate, what did Krishna tell them? Krishna told Vasudeva, take me to Nanda Maharaj. They were waiting and waiting and waiting. And what did Krishna say? Take me to Gokul, Nandagaon. All right. And what were they doing? They were in complete surrender, just acceptance. Right? They went through so much suffering for their own children being killed in front of them. So finally, when Krishna appeared, it was time for them to celebrate. But what does Krishna tell them? Take me away. Right? So, some of the acharyas, they compare Vasudev with Lord Ram, because both Ram and Vasudev had to cross a water body. All right. In the case of Vasudev, he had to cross Yamuna, and in the case of Ram, he had to cross the sea between India and Sri Lanka. Right. So it's interesting to see how Lord Ram, for him to cross the ocean was not so difficult, because he did not actually face any threat from Ravana for crossing the water. He did not, because Ravana was thinking that, oh, the monkeys cannot come to Lanka, right? And Lanka is like a very, very solidly fortified fortress. It's insurmountable. You cannot come there. So that was how Ravana was thinking. And Ravana also kept on telling himself that, oh, Hanuman came, yes, he burned the city, but that was just a freakish accident. But the rest of the monkeys will not be able to come into Lanka. But the monkeys were all super enthusiastic. They were like so cheerful. They were having so much of fun while they were building the bridge. But if you compare this to Vasudev, who had to cross this water body, the Yamuna River. So Karuna Mataji, are you hearing? I think you'll need to mute your line, Every time Anuj Prabhu mutes you, you unmute yourself. Not necessary to unmute. You just need to listen. All right? So while the monkeys were all so enthusiastic, Vasudev, right, he was living in an atmosphere of great anxiety. Right? Because Krishna is saying, you bring me to Nanda Maharaj's home, to Nandagaon. And the guards, they had like chained Vasudev and Devaki. And the guards were all super alert. Right? So it was such a risky business to actually bring Krishna over. So then what did Vasudev do? Vasudev had through full dependence on Krishna. Right? This is just acceptance and surrender to the highest level. And when he left, the security guards all fall asleep, the chains broke, the jail doors opened, and therefore this means that they had full faith in what Krishna wanted. Right? Now just imagine, after so much of suffering, when the Lord appears and tell them, take me to Nandagaon, and they just accept this and they totally agree. Just look at the lives of the gopi. They had so much of love for Krishna. Krishna promised them that he will come back, but he never came back. All right? So you can see that, how these devotees are all living this principle of gratitude, dependence, and finally acceptance. Let's take a quick time check. We have 20 more minutes. All right? So we need to practice acceptance, and this comes when we develop trust in life. All right? When we accept, acceptance is all about having this trust. Right? So Prabhupada explains that, this very nice technique that to practice acceptance, we need to imbibe this full trust and surrender to Krishna. Trust meaning, having full faith, as what Shefali Mataji has said, that Krishna will take care of me if I surrender. All right? If I surrender, Krishna will take care of me. I've done my very, very best. I just leave this to Krishna. Okay. So, but how, how can we move to a grateful life and start, depending on Krishna? What are some of the processes which we can inculcate? Prayers, certainly, yeah. Waking up in the morning, doing your sadhana, etc. These are very, very important practices which can solidify our faith, our trust, our dependence, and our acceptance in the will of Krishna. And very important is also to practice journaling. All right. Maybe next week or the following week, we can have a session where we look at how do we go about journaling in the practice of sadhana or devotion. This is a very, very, very powerful practice. And therefore, you read Prabhupada's diary just now. Right? This is so important if you want to build trust. All right. So trust means not trying to be a control freak. Right? Trust means allowing Krishna to take charge of our life. Right? So practically it means in life that someone is like, trying sometimes to earn a lot of money and is spending so much of time earning money that they have got no time for Krishna consciousness. Okay. Sometimes we have to just reflect and ask ourselves, maybe can I just reduce 10% of my work, my material work, and maybe invest that energy in my spiritual life? Think about it, because our material work, being on the material platform, it will only help us in this particular life. But whatever investment you are doing in your spiritual life is going to be helping us, not just in this life, but in all our future life. So, are we willing to spend less time in our material activities and slowly spend time in hearing, in chanting, and serving the Lord? Okay. I know it's tough. It is not easy because we have our families, etc. Okay. But just think about this, sometimes we have a finite amount of time. We have to have at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep. But can we make some time? Can we have a clear intention? If we are not able to make time, maybe we will need to, strategically reduce time for our material activities. Right? Think about this. A very important point is, right? If I take care of my Krishna consciousness, then Krishna will take care of what I need. All right. This is, for me, this is my key takeaway from today's class. While I was preparing for this, if I can take care of my Krishna consciousness, right, then Krishna will certainly take care of what I need. He's the orchestrator of our lives, man. If we allow him to do this, otherwise he will just be like another bird watching this bird eating. Remember, there are two birds in our hearts, the soul and the super soul. Right? Prabhupada likes to give this example of an ant and an elephant. Prabhupada says the ant only needs 1 grain of food, but the elephant needs a lot of food. So some of us are like the elephant. We have to work very hard in the office because we have got so many demands, right? So many needs. We need more money. And some of us are okay to just simplify our lives. We don't need so much, and therefore we can spend more time in Krishna consciousness. Easier said than done because the mind will keep on cheating us. Okay. Yeah, we may want to, transition to the end, but the mind will tell us that, oh, you are an elephant, you have to do more, you have to spend more time, you have to do this, you have to do that, etc., and therefore have less time for the most eternal activity, which is your sadhana. So how can you know whether you are an ant or an elephant? Which means, how can you know whether you need to earn more money or you need to spend more time in Krishna consciousness? It's a very powerful question. Let's just reflect on this. How can I know that, I can live with a little bit lesser, or I just have so much of demands? So the acharyas explained that there are a few questions we can ask ourselves, right? I started off today's class asking this question: are we stuck or are we moving forward? Right? All of us are stuck. Frankly, let's be authentic. All of us are stuck. We want to move forward, but there are just so many huge boulders pulling us back, pulling us back, pulling us back. Right? So are we stuck or are we moving forward? Number two, are we able to remember Krishna favorably? Or do you feel unloved by the Lord? And number three, if we are not feeling Krishna consciousness, that means we are not trusting Krishna. Okay, this is not what I am saying. This is what the acharyas are saying. Okay. So we need to take this big step of being satisfied and starting to invest some time in our sadhana. The moment we start expressing gratitude, we will stop comparing ourselves to others. When we start practicing dependence on Krishna, then this controlling disease will also go away because we are dependent on Krishna. And when we start accepting Krishna's plan and surrendering to Krishna's will, that's where we will see a paradigm shift in our life. So once we practice gratitude, we stop comparing. Once we practice dependence, we surrender to the Lord. We have full trust in His plan. And you realize that actually the entire complaining just goes away. Yeah, the entire complaining just goes away. This control freak, complaining, comparison, all of this will start going away once we start practicing Krishna consciousness through these three ways. Okay? Expressing gratitude, dependence, and acceptance. Right? So I've got another, small little schematic at the bottom of the slide, which explains how do you practice acceptance. You can see that. Looks like this might be one of the last slides for today. So we spoke extensively in our classes on Kulashekar Alwar, right? Remember the king in South India, every night he had to listen to the Ramayana, and the priest knew exactly where to stop, because if he goes beyond this particular chapter, this king will get into a mood of a trance-like mood, and then call for his entire army to march towards Rameswaram and get into the waters to save Sita, to help Ram. Right? So we have discussed this many times. So what Kulashekar Alwar is saying in his Mukunda Mala Stotar, in his prayer, is that, my Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your Lordship and be locked up in their network. Otherwise, at the time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think of you? Right? So what Kulashekar Alvar is saying is, please, please give me this grit, this enthusiasm to practice my bhakti now. Because if I don't do it now, what gives me this right of doing it later? Tomorrow, we're not sure about tomorrow. A good time will come in future, we are just not sure. Right? So we need to pause and take charge of our lives. All right? And remember the power of practice. All right? Atomic habits, James Clear. 1% better every day or 1% better every week, and you will see a quantum leap in our devotion. So this is what Kulashekar Alvar is saying. Let me practice it now. Let me get into this mood now. Who knows about tomorrow? Tomorrow, when I'm leaving the world, I may be like coughing and coughing and coughing. The entire phlegm will be choking my throat. How can I even remember you? Even Bhishmadev, on the bed of arrows, he's saying the same thing. Right? He's praying to Krishna, let my thinking, feeling, and willing be on your lotus feet now. He says, my entire life I've been like serving this person, that person, the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. I've been doing all of this. Now let me just focus my mind, my senses on you. Right? By practicing now, when we are active, when we are alert, when we are awake, all right, that gives us this right to also remember the Lord during our final time. Okay, so today, I'm so sorry we could not get into Srimad Bhagavatam, but I just felt this was very important because, no use just coming for the classes and just listening to the katha if we do not internalize this, if we do not start chanting. This is a big wake-up call for myself. I'm not telling you. I can be preparing this class, etc. But what am I doing for my own self? And therefore, I felt this class is more for myself. In preparing it, I'm forcing myself to think about this. This is lesser for you. This is more for myself. This is more to clean myself up. Okay, so please bless me that, I can start at least thinking about all of these principles in a much more serious manner. So finally, what we will do is we will try to summarize what we have learned in Mahatma Prabhu's single lecture. It's an entire series that was just scratching the surface. But before that, let's remember one very important verse from the Bhagavatam, where Krishna says, there might be so many different types of sacrifices. We know in Satya Yuga, right, it was about meditation. In Treta Yuga, it was deity. Treta Yuga, it was sacrifices, and then in Dwapara Yuga, it was deity worship. And then in Kali Yuga, Krishna says, of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy name. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can revive his original relationship with God. Because we have forgotten this relationship with God. That is what religion is all about. That's what yoga is all about. It's about reconnecting us back to our Supreme Father. Okay, so how do you improve our chanting? First and foremost, understand that I'm an eternal, insignificant servant of Krishna, not master. I'm just a servant. I'm just one small little fragment. And the Lord is magnanimous. I'm dependent on Him. Through this dependence, the belonging comes. And through the belonging, the love, the devotional service, therefore, should come. So before I start chanting, I need to pray that I can realize this, feel this, that I'm actually helpless. Right? It should be in a humble state of mind. So before we start chanting, we need to get into the right mode. What's the meaning of right mode? Right? Pray to the Lord, please let me be under the shelter of your yoga maya, your spiritual energy, because that energy is where I get my desire and my impetus to serve you. That's where I can feel my position as your servant. And please protect me from your external energy, Mahamaya. So it's like, Krishna, can you cover me in this spiritual energy so I can be enthusiastic to serve you? Okay. So these were the first 3 points I got from Mahatma Prabhu's class. And then Mahatma Prabhu says, don't let your mind, just waver away from Krishna while chanting. But if it waves away, acknowledge and bring it back. Right? This practice will actually strengthen the focus muscle. All right. So while you are chanting, you are remembering Krishna, you are hearing. All right. I'll teach you how to remember Krishna very, very shortly. So don't log off yet. This is one trick which my Guru Maharaj has taught me, and it has stayed with me, and I can tell you it really works. It really works. Okay. So practice will strengthen this focus muscle. So every time the mind goes, acknowledge, oh, the mind has gone anywhere. Bring it back. Bring it back. Bring it back. And slowly you will realize that, wow, instead of it going every 20 seconds, it will start going every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, etc. What is the mood which we bring to the chanting? You need to feel it. All right, you must feel this prayerful mood of asking Krishna, please engage my mind and senses in you. Right? And chanting is what? It is actually praying to the Harinam deity. Krishna is manifesting as his name, the Harinam deity. Okay, hearing is being mindful about Krishna's presence. While I'm chanting, Krishna is next to me. He's in my heart. Right? He's in my heart. It's not a mechanical process, but it is a prayer. Sometimes lifetimes can pass doing 16 rounds in a mechanical way. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Just by chanting fast, it will become snake. It's a mechanical process. What do you get out of it? At the end of it, you can ask yourself, do I feel better after the entire chanting process? If no, then maybe something is wrong. While we are chanting, is our mind in the office? Or is it with Sham Sundar in our heart? So like this, we don't let the mind go away, but the mind will keep on going. But what does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? Practice. Practice. Bring it back. Acknowledge it and bring it back. Acknowledge, oh, you have gone away, I'll bring you back. I'll bring you back to hearing the Mahamantra. I bring you back to meditating on Krishna's form. Okay, now I'm going to teach you some tricks, all right, on how to stay focused on Krishna and on the Hari Nam while you are chanting. Okay, I've tried this process and I tell you it works. Okay, so if you have your chanting beats, take them out, get to the first beat. Okay, while you are on the first beat, I want you to do this. Okay, while you are chanting Hare Krishna, the first beat, remember Krishna. Okay, first beat, number 1, you just remember one personality, the supreme personality of Godhead, who is Sham Sundar. So while you are chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Your mind is on the lotus feet of Krishna, slowly going up to his lotus-like face. Okay? One personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, you are getting to the second beat. You transition from Shyam Sundar Krishna to Prahlad Narasingha. Two personalities. My second beat, two personalities. So once again, Narsingadev is the protector of our bhakti. He protects the devotee, right? So we very humbly ask Narsingadev to please protect my bhakti. Please envelop me with the spiritual energy of yours, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So you start from Lord Narsingadev's lotus feet, going all the way to him, to his face, and maybe him blessing Prahlad Maharaj. Nice. Did you see your mind going anywhere else? No, it stays there. Now, the third beat. The third beat, you remember three personalities: Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay? Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Will your mind go anywhere? No. Maybe just the decorations on the Lord. Number 4. This is where it becomes very interesting. Now, 4 personalities are in this picture. All right? And the picture is already in my mind. All right? Sita, Ram, Lakshman, and Hanuman. 4 personalities. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, 5 personalities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar, Srivas Prabhu. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. So these are 5 personalities. Hare Krishna. So you can, just meditate on these 5 personalities in your mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. All right. They propagated the chanting of the holy names. Once again in Kali Yuga, because this practice was forgotten. So we seek their mercy. Then the 6 Goswamis who were empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to unearth all the important Leela stalls in Vrindavan, they were able to share their realizations from the scriptures. Whatever we learn today is actually their realizations. Okay? So we need to pay obeisances to them. My 6th beat will be on the 6 Goswamis, 6 personalities. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now we move on to the 7 personalities, the Sapta Rishis. Okay? The Sapta Rishis, they lift the entire Sanatan Dharma. All right? So being Bhardwaj, Vashishta Muni, Gautam Rishi, Kashyap Muni, Atri, Jamdagini, and Vishwamitra. We also pay obeisances to them. These are the 7th Sapta Rishis. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. 8. Just focus on the 8 principal gopis of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. These 8 principal gopis are helping Radharani. Okay, so there comes the 9th principal gopi. Right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And finally, the 10th personality, who is Shyam Sundar again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Tomorrow, when you do this, please message me and tell me whether do you feel any difference in your chanting. You will realize that yes, the mind will still wander, but much lesser right now because you have an object to meditate on. Okay, I'll stop my sharing here. What do all of you think? Shalini Mataji, what do you think?
I felt really nice, Prabhuji. I believe I should practice now with the tips given by you. And yeah, if we have some picture to focus on, our mind drifts less, because as we were there in, we have learned in our previous classes, there is nothing called void. You
Yeah.
need to place something in your heart.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, because there is nothing called void, and if the Prabhu's image is there, Prabhuji, so we can, you know, meditate on him. And yeah.
Yeah. You know, if you cannot already visualize in your mind, it's okay. See the picture. At least in the starting point, you know. First
Yeah.
beat. And then when you go to the 11th beat, again you start back to Shyam Sundarji. Then Prahlad Narsimha. Then Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Then Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Then the Panchatattva. Then the Sapta Rishis. Then the 8 gopis. And then bring Radha Rani E as the 9th personality, and 10 complete with this gopis, with Shyam Sundar. Yeah. You know, I like this. I like this very much. Yeah. Otherwise, the mind will just keep on going. Oh, today I've got my chemistry test to do. I've got this, that. Okay. All right. So I'm so sorry I couldn't get into Bhagavatam. I just wanted to do this part of it today. But I think it's important for me in preparing it, because in preparing, I also teach myself. Okay. Any other realizations? Shiv, would you like to maybe share something which?
Hare Krishna, Pradeep ji.
Hare Krishna, Shiv.
Yeah, so for me, I'm trying to be less mechanical when I do my japa.
Very
Because
good.
sometimes if you do 108 times when you first start, it feels like quite long. So you're wondering when it will be over.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be more devotional when I do my japa and think of Krishna ji instead.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. You know, I think it's important not to focus on the process, but to focus on that love, that mood which you bring into it. And you know, I think all of us are trying to do 16 rounds, or you know, trying to increase, etc. It's all right to start with one. Perfect that one. When you perfect that one, you will realize that, wow, I want to do more. You know, I want to do more. I want to do more. Because I can tell you, lifetimes can actually pass just doing the mechanical way, because it's a checklist. I need to finish my 16 rounds before the sun rises, you know. And then you realize that, no, I've actually wasted my life away because there was not the proper mood being brought into this. Okay. All right. Very good. Manoj Prabhu.
Definitely, there were a lot of learnings today, Prabhu, and
Okay.
like
All
when you
right.
start faith and acceptance, that was amazing, because without that you cannot move forward. And the japa thing is amazing because all of us have this hankering. We start the rounds and then we start thinking about our work. Once you concentrate on something, then it's much easier to stick to it and remember God, that yes, you
Yeah. Thanks for bringing this point up. I was just reading the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Let me tell you, you cannot stop reading the Bhagavad Gita. I was just reading the Bhagavad Gita on Friday again. And then I just got this realization from the purport. The first conversation where Krishna is in a conversation with Arjuna, what is Arjuna doing? Arjuna is getting into a spiritual exchange with Lord Krishna, where he's strengthening his spiritual fortitude. And after that, what happens is he was able to continue with his material warfare, right? And execute his material duty. That could not have been done if he had not had that fortitude, that strengthening because of his sadhana with Krishna. Think about it. You know,
Right.
if we are just so focused in our sadhana in the morning, while we are just, when we are worship, we are just in our mantra or in our Mangal Arti, etc., not allowing all this distraction to come in, then that will empower you to actually do your swadharma better. This is exactly the case of Arjuna and Krishna. You know,
Right.
thanks for bringing that point up. Okay, everybody, thank you very much. I think I've gone beyond 10:30, but I enjoyed giving the class today, and look forward to meeting all of you next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Yeah.